Welcome to The Uniformer. Insights into and interviews with the people and companies that drive the markets for uniforms, image apparel, public safety, and workwear.
Hello. Hey, everyone. Hi. This is Rick Levine from the NAUMD, and I got these two crazy gentlemen here today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Well, thanks, Rick. Sean Kearley, country manager for Canada. Been with Blåkläder since September of last year. Been in the industry for over 20 years, right? The gray hair shows it. Glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Good.
And I'm Andrew Perillo. I'm the Vice President for Sales and Marketing here covering the U.S. Been with Blåkläder Workwear for just over 3.5 years now, and been in the industry for close to 10. So always good to get a chance to sit down and talk. Awesome.
Great. And that answers one of my questions, which is it's Blåkläder, right?
Blåkläder, Blåkläder. It depends on where you're from and how you're saying it, but Blåkläder works well here in North America.
Okay, Blåkläder.
Yep.
And with an umlauts, is that accurate, or is that?
You really got to sink your teeth into the umlauts. It's different if you're a native speaker, but for us, Blåkläder seems to work just fine. There's no objection from the Swedes when they hear it.
Right, and it's Swedish, so
Absolutely.
We can expect that these are like IKEA products, right? It's like
I put us much closer to a Volvo than IKEA, but at the same time, it's a Swedish company. The company's been in business since 1959, and we're a true global workwear provider. We're in 22 different countries with dedicated sales force. I believe the last count, we're distributed in over 88 countries globally. So quite a footprint, quite a collection to pull from, and we try to make sure we're addressing the needs of whatever individual market we're in.
And I had made a note that it was like 65 years or something like that. That sounds
been around for a while.
Yeah, and the reputation is incredible. And why? So how long have the company been pursuing North America then?
So North America really came in the middle, to call it 2005 to 2010. There's a lot of market research and things done like that. I would say the sales staff began in earnest in the 2010s. That's when we really started saying, like, we didn't want to just come in and throw European product around. That's not the point, right? So it took a while to really start to understand what the North American tradesman is looking for, the difference in aesthetics, the difference in performance, what is the demand here, and then really building a product offering that meets the demands here in the States. There's quite a bit of difference between the European and North American markets, so it takes some time to really get your fit.
I was just clicking on something to see about Facebook because it says we're not live on Facebook. So I mean, you're bringing up manufacturing, though. Wait, what, Sean?
I was just going to say, Rick, while you're looking up the Facebook connectivity, Blåkläder's name actually means blue clothing in English, right? So it's an acronym in Europe for work clothing, right? So the brand design from name onwards has always been work clothing first.
Yeah, it's the absolute heritage for it.
Remember Blåkläder, remember blue clothes.
Blue clothes. When Swedish miners were going to work, they would literally, the guy's on his way out, the wife says, "Don't forget your Blåkläder," and it was the blue jumpsuits that they would wear at the time. That's the origin for it.
I love that. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's so cool. And traditionally at least in the States, then we always also had a distinguishing phrase between blue goods and white goods, right?
Yes.
Like blue goods was public safety and white was, hospitality and medical. And it's interesting that that's blue here meant public safety, but blue there meant, workwear. which is not surprising, right? Most coveralls were probably, navy and blue, even
Yep.
here throughout time, right?
Well, me and Andrew were talking early on, and we both come from the uniform rental industry from our background. And back when we started, it was navy was the choice for the processing, right? So you can have any color as long as it's navy, right? So the industry on both sides of the ocean kind of started the same way, where navy blue was the color of choice. I think more so because it hides dirt easier, right? Easier to process, right?
Yep. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And then if we think about the blue again, like jeans, right? The whole Williamson-Dickey, heritage, the whole idea that, jeans, denim would have been the leading choice for durability. But, you look through the Blåkläder website now, and do you have any denim? It's all this, very high performance rip stop, and talk about how the styles are changing, and also the color block. I know we've talked about that before, right? So you have all this heritage in Europe with color blocks, but that's not really the way we workers are looking for it to be here in North America.
Great question, Rick. We have a legacy in denim, right? Some of our first hanging pocket pants in Europe were denim based, right? That's a lot of our legacy, and we still have some heavy denim options. But the reality of product going forward is more performance based, right? So does denim have a place? Absolutely. But is the market changing, right? So depending on job function, heat stress, right? Mobility, right? So earlier I talked about our four-way stretch pants. We released a denim version of that where the non-stretch panels are lighter denim, right? So I think the industry looks at function and form before it looks at if it's made out of denim, right? So between the panels, articulated knees, right? Cinch points, right? Our design is not limited to fashion, right? Because fashion speaks to a point of look. We design from the user experience outwards, right? So a lot of our garments are designed to enhance the worker's functions versus the worker working against the product they're wearing.
Yeah, and I think anytime we talk about product, we're a company built on cornerstones, and there's four things that come into consideration anytime, and it's what any good manufacturer does: quality, function, design, and for us, the big addition is sustainability. When we talk about denim as a material, it was the best at the time. I mean, we're going back into the 1800s. That was the most durable fabric available, and the point was longevity, considering how rough the work environment is. But Sean hit the nail on the head. It's about increasing the performance of the worker and heat stress, mobility. When we're like, crawl around in an HVAC environment, working on ducting, and see how well those stiff jeans do for you after a couple hours. Right. I think of the trends we see and what we try to design this for the workers who are doing the work. And everybody wants lighter, everybody wants stretch. And those materials are now available in a way that offer the same durability that denim is known for. We can do that with half the weight and a lot more stretch. So why wouldn't we?
Yeah, of course, 100%. And I don't think you're alone. I think there's a movement in general in the workwear markets towards this. And so, I mean, Blåkläder does their own manufacturing too. So I imagine that plays into how you're developing fabrics and testing and iterating on the products.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the factories are probably our biggest source of strength in terms of being able to guarantee the quality. Our command of the value chain from sourcing all the way through customer service afterwards the strength of that position starts at the factory level. Go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to add that. I was just going to add as well that our manufacturing facilities produce 98% of the products that we bring to market, right? And we're constantly looking to add more, as we previously discussed. So when we just finished building a couple new factories, and we built them with expansion in mind, right? Like and we're not, we can more than double in size in manufacturing and not have to increase our footprint, right? And then most of our production facilities are in Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. And I think there's still a 50-50 partnership in Vietnam. So we spread out a lot of our manufacturing needs dependent on which country is best at producing that. Because if you had a chance to look at some of our technical garments, it takes a very skilled workforce to make it, right? So our manufacturing isn't just in the cheapest countries to make it. It's in those countries that can make the product to the quality that we're being demanded of our consumer base.
And how is that playing in North America? Do you find, I mean, is there any made in the USA requirements that you run up against, or made in Canada requirements that you run up against, or is that not really for the markets that you're serving? That's not a critical concern.
So I think we definitely run into it a lot, and what we've found is that those requirements are designed really to guarantee a certain level of performance and quality. Once people really see our product, those concerns are non-existent. As soon as you feel the difference in what we're able to do and understand why we do things the way we do. We're extremely proud of all we have a lot of third-party validations. We pay a lot to make sure that it's one thing for me and Sean to come on here and tell you how great we are. It's another thing when we have LEED, Made in Green, Architects, SA 8000, all of these independent validators that we look for really speak to the product that we put out. So Made in America, Made in Canada, those things have their place. It's important to support locally, but at the same time, we're in a global economy. So this is sourcing to the best skilled workers in the textile industry in the world. That's why we continue to expand our presence in Sri Lanka, is because they have some of the best skilled labor in the world at those places.
Yeah, well said.
The other thing that we see in Canada is if there's a made in Canada requirement, the reality is there's not a lot of manufacturing being done here. And then what me and Andrew bring to the North American market is that content design is held by us too, right? Like if me and Andrew engage with a specific need by a user, we design the product with them in mind, with them and as participant, and show the capabilities that we're capable of, right? Both through certification, but also there's some unique stuff that we do, like a lifetime warranty on our seams, right? So
lifetime warranty. Wow.
On our seams, yep. And that brings speaks to our not just our build quality, but our sustainability as well. Like we're designing garments not for planned obsolescence or premature wear, where we're designing them to last as long as possible, and then putting behind it the guarantee. Right. So
what are you going to sell next year then?
So
what are you going to sell next year? The answer's still working.
Yeah.
Well, some of that's the beauty of it. I mean, you should see some of the shows that Sean and I go to. Well, I was out at World of Concrete this year out in Las Vegas. We're proud to sponsor the Bricklayer 500 that's done there every year. We have people that come up to us saying, I bought this 17 years ago, and it's actually more comfortable than it was. And it's some of our more Cordura-based jackets. Longevity is critical. There is no true way to recycle blended garments in a way that's environmentally neutral or beneficial. So the only way to be sustainable as a workwear provider is to make sure that the garment lasts and is not being replaced. This is something we see a lot in the uniform industry, is that a lot of times things are designed to fail within a certain rate to guarantee run through the following year. Well, it's nice. I mean, believe me, Sean and I love predictable revenue as much as anyone else, but at the same time, there's a larger service we can provide for the end user and for the environment. Why not make something that lasts as long as we possibly can?
So in the rental world,
And then what?
I know you've
I was just going to say what ends up happening. What ends up? Oh. Sorry, Rick. Go ahead.
In the rental world, which I know you have a history in, right? We used to say, it still do, I think, 50 washings, right?
Mm-hmm.
60 washings. And then there'll be something about the garment that would necessitate or recommend that, like the color might be shifting, the decorations might be shifting, that, something is, but is it more just that it's, the chemicals and the heat, it can't take it. So the person that was wearing that jacket for 17 years is likely a home wash or, something like that. But I mean, but why can't we then make everything, last that long? That does seem like crazy that if you guys are doing that, right, that's like the Patagonia philosophy, right? With the lifetime guarantee of seams. Wow.
Yep. Yeah. And that's, what we lean into as well on the rental side. Like we'd be more than happy to engage with those rental providers to discuss further, right? We do some work with them, but to show them that there's options. Would it last a lifetime in industrial laundry? There'll be a life cycle to that for sure because of what you said, Rick, on heat and chemical, right? So long term, we'll see what that looks like. But I see the longevity of our garments as not just a benefit to Blåkläder, but to all the users and all the feed through, such as rental companies.
Yeah, and companies, depending on the political climate, right, more and more have ESG, initiatives, and so I imagine that's an important part of consideration that you end up talking to your clients about, is the sustainability pieces of it. Another one that we've discussed, which I want you to talk about, is the female worker, right? Women's workwear. So that has, especially in the past decade, I don't know what the timing is, but it just seems like there's a major push globally to ensure that the female fit is more than just, made for little men.
You're 100% right, Rick. I've been in the industry over 20 years, and female garments have been always part of the conversation. Just, I think, in the last 10 years, it's accelerated beyond what was offered in the past. So I think most of our conversations now have that as a large component, right? So being able to offer proper fitting, proper functioning, and long-lasting women's wear is just going to be a consistent conversation piece. And that goes back to our previous conversations about product design. Like being Andrew, whenever we look at adding products, we discuss women's wear not as a afterthought, but as a complement to the men's, and vice versa, men's to the women's, right? How does it look together, right? So making sure that the market has it, right? And then there's needs from both genders that are different, right? So looking at how a woman's body moves and works versus a men's body, right? So we have a great advantage with some fantastic designers that we work with, right? That can bring in some really nice design elements that are functional first, but look fantastic in deliverable.
I think and just
add, Andrew?
Well, yeah, a lot of the feedback that we get is and it's a blight in the industry, is the urge to shrink in pink. And that there you go, you got a woman's, like, what are we waiting for? It's Sean hit the nail on the head. It's a different body. There's different biomechanics at play. Sean also made reference to the design team that we work with out of our corporate headquarters in Sweden. They spend a lot of time here in the US seeking direct end user feedback on why things should be the way they are. And when we design a woman's product, we have a sense of the environment that it's going to be used in. And we might look at a men's one that we already have in there, but we start back at the fabric stage and then design forward. It's not just make a couple alterations of what, like, they don't need back pockets. Boom, you got a woman's pant. Like, there's a full design process because inherently the fit is different. So it has to be given a full treatment. It can't just be reduce the size and then, yeah, it's good enough. That's not good enough.
Andrew brings up a good point on the way we go to market. We don't do it in a silo or a vacuum, right? We engage with the end users. We have a great network of online influencers who are in the industry, right? They're in the industry. So we don't look for people to do funny TikTok videos. What we look for is people who are tilers. They're in the industry, right, that have a social following. So we work with them as well because they're bricklayers, they're tradespeople, right? They're in some type of industry. So it gives us a real world feedback on functionality, durability, and fit, right? And then if it's a product specific to an end user, they're asking, they wear trial it before we finalize it, right? So it's by the time the product's developed, it's already been used and feedback by the industry.
So on that design thread the two of you are going down, you've mentioned certain innovations that are important, like the four-way stretch and the even the stretch in an FR, right? A garment, and I think you're calling them hanging pockets, which you need to tell me how the hanging pocket is different than, or a lot of knee protection, right? So where's the balloon getting squeezed? Because that's a lot to think about, right? All at once, as well as thinking about female fit versus male fit versus, and in our industry, we've got every size, right? You've got, 0 to 30, 40, for women, and, 100-inch waists on some men.
So FR is actually, it's a great space to talk about this because this is where we're seeing quite a bit of growth. And FR fabrics in general are advancing in technology much faster than they had in the previous 20 years.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. We utilize a lot of two-way ripstop stretch, which is, from a technical standpoint, pretty difficult to do while maintaining a Cat 2 daily wear rating. But we've been able to do that. But even in that, you talk about finding the different amount of applications and the different environments that it works in. What we try to do is, for instance, I'll do a shameless plug here, but if anyone's attending the International Lineman Rodeo, we will be there with our entire product development team, working with the International Rodeo. Gets some of the best linemen in the world, and they're all in one place in Kansas City. They're all competing against each other. It's a great time, but at the same time, we have everyone there that we need to make sure we're designing product correctly for that environment. So we bring the developers over, we get them directly into the tradespeople that can help us identify what can make their lives easier, better, and safer.
So
the trade of a lineman, not a bull rider, right?
Correct. Yes, a lineman. Yes, bull riding is a completely different one. If you're wearing FR and bull riding, you're on a crazy bull. But the needs of a lineman are substantially different from that of a wind turbine technician. And when Sean talks about hanging pockets, that's very traditional in the wind industry, to have that sort of tool belt built into the pants with the knee pads and all of that. That's very traditional for the wind turbine technician, but not applicable to a lineman. So it's two different products. It's two different environments. Their needs are different. But if we understand it from an end user point, then we can really design purpose-made workwear for the environments that's being put in.
And to add on to Andrew's points, when we design products and we have a plethora of choices between fabrics, between features, between design elements, we always start with what is the job function, right? We do take about 30% feedback on what they think they're trying to solve, but we usually look at everything in our arsenal and what can we develop differently, and then bring it to the end user in the market, right? So one of our pants that we just released, I think it's coming in stock in the next month, has vented zipper on the leg, right? So we do have pants that vent well with the stretch panels, but we had requests in factory settings where it's not always air conditioned, that they want to be able to vent in the summer when it's hot, but they don't want to when it's not hot, right? So came up with a simple, if you think the 80s break dancer pants with the zippers on the side, so it's got a mesh insert, right? So, but it's a nice tuck zipper, so you can't really tell. And the first sampling we did just took off, right? Because it doesn't look like your traditional vented pants that are on the market where it's obvious it's a vented pant. Ours looks like a 4-pocket pant, right, with articulated knees, until you know where the zipper is, right? So some nice design elements that take away from making it look very Unitarian, making it look nice to wear. It's a good image, but also very functional.
So where do you see it all going, though? I mean, are these trends that you've been mentioning, or the current requests, we're just going to continue perfecting those, or are there things that we're, anticipating? I imagine anticipating where people are going to be, the jobs they're going to have is, for a company of your size, pretty important, element to where the company's headed. But specifically, I guess, in PPE and workwear, and where do you see any trends happening that we should watch for?
Well, and that's the beauty of where me and Andrew get to lead the North American charge, is that we're acknowledging what we see as a market and what the market is demanding. So in broad strokes, I see a lot more emphasis on the technical needs of the fabric and the design, right, which bodes well to where we are in the market, right? So that throughout the industry, you're hearing a lot about moisture wicking, right, air permeability, obviously on the FR side on getting flash fire and arc management without having to wear a heavy weight, right? This was a lot of the FR weights going further and further down, right? So we're prime position for that, because we've always been looking at the forefront of workwear design since 1959, right? So the fabric choices we have available to us have been available to us for years. They're not trying to convince us to use these performance fabrics. We've been demanding it from the industry for eons, right? And then as far as functionality, I think it's that the conversation is still going to continue onwards of performance over price, right? Not saying that you can price your product whatever you want. It's just that there's certain criteria that have to be there, right? Whether it be moisture wicking, whether it be air permeability, whether it be stain resistance, right? And I guess along with that, PFAS is a big conversation throughout the world, right? Being PFAS free, right? So and a lot of the designs were historically that wasn't a consideration. Take like water repellency. That's a heavy PFAS coating in most industries, right? Yeah, where a lot of our non-FR stuff is taped and sealed and welded, right? Where it doesn't use a chemical to make it water resistant, right? It uses a lack of invasive moisture, right? By welding the seams, right? And all that stuff. Andrew, I'm sure you got more to add.
Well, I actually want to, I agree with everything you said. I think to go even broader, I think what we're seeing if you talk a broad market trend is I think in general workers are recognizing the importance of workwear and not looking at it as a cost conscious item, looking at it in terms of performance, looking at it in terms of, is this the right tool to help my efficiency? The market is expanding upward in terms of function, in terms of performance. And I think that's a good thing. You talk to any skilled tradesman, there's a million reasons why they prefer Milwaukee versus DeWalt versus Makita versus Festool. There's everyone's got a preference, and they take great pride in, you know what, I am a Festool guy. Why? And there's a lot of thought and process put into that. We're seeing that in workwear too, as it should be. The workwear that you wear is as much a tool as the tool that's in your hand. It's all about optimizing your performance. So I think that trend is pretty apparent throughout all sectors of the industry, whether it's you're talking industrial laundry, at-home laundry, it doesn't really matter. Everyone's demanding more and are willing to pay a premium for it if the performance matches the price. There's a value to what we provide. And I think that as the North American market really starts to embrace this idea of, I can perform better if I'm outfitted correctly, that's a powerful driver. And I think we're seeing that pretty much across the board right now.
That's really
one thing I could.
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Sorry. One thing I would add as well is the continuation in the market's going to be image as well as function, right? So because what the garments are doing, so let's go back 50 years, the workwear was designed just to keep workers clean and as safe as possible, right? Now it's also a company image, right? So whatever the employees are wearing is an image of that company. So embracing those both sides. So at Blåkläder, our design elements help the wearer look good, which in turn helps a company portray a good image, but also it's designed from step one as a functional piece, right? So it's a workwear that the pros will want to wear as well, right? Because our design is designed to be the most featured, right? What the thought process put through every stitch, right? So I think that conversation is going to continue to elevate throughout the next 10, 20 years plus.
Very interesting. And yeah, the form versus function versus, design, that's a perpetual stretch for our industry of where, they require us to stretch 4 ways. But but what's also interesting about the nuance of what the two of you are saying that I hadn't necessarily thought about is it that our wearers are becoming more educated and sophisticated about selection of the workwear, or as workwear providers, we're becoming more mature about, like, what are we actually delivering and how can we actually take all of this explosive new technology and chemistry and textile science and, all of the additives, right? Like we can put, like that never has to stain again, right? We didn't grow up with that idea, right? Things stain, you stain it, and then you get a new one, right? It's like, it's a very different world in that respect. And I wonder, if it's probably chicken and egg, because now, like you're saying, there's this loop and you're feeding each other. The buyers are more sophisticated and they're explaining, I can't really get over the fence the way you guys have this, inseam done, right? It's like,
I think it's kind of a natural evolution. The workwear market tends to follow initial trends that are set either in fashion or performance wear. And why should somebody who take a plumber who's out playing golf on a Saturday in brand new 4-way stretch, moisture wicking UPF 50, on and on and on, and then he goes in and he's got to wear just basic cotton stuff when he's at work? It makes no sense. Well, the technology can easily be translated. Why don't I have these options in workwear? It's a great question. And it's the ability to, again, we try to make purpose-built workwear. and these technologies are available, and people are absolutely willing to pay a premium for it if it matches what the value they're putting in.
Yes. Right.
And
Right. If you
and
find the value in the $5 Starbucks cup, which I do, right, that
Yes.
over going to the diner and getting the $1.50 cup, then there's reasons why.
There's
And
reasons
that's
why.
a terrible analogy, but
and Rick and our age group, we remember pre-internet, right? So to your comment about buyers and users being more educated, well, absolutely, right? They're not just looking at what we can do or our competitors can do. They're looking all over the internet, right? They're finding information about active wear, right? What's going on in that field, because a lot of our users are active people, right? They're fishers, they're hikers, they're hunters, right? So a lot of that technology has been used in that industry for years, right? There's brands that built themselves around I think I got disconnected. I don't know if I'm back.
Yeah, you froze for a sec, but this is the fun part about doing this live, right? Hey guys, it was a pleasure talking to you both today, for real. And the main website is blåkläder.com, BLAKLADER.com. All right. And was there anything that you thought I was going to ask you about that you were all ready to tell me and I didn't ask? Or
no, I think we pretty much covered what we set out to do. It's great. We really appreciate the chance to speak into the association and have this platform here. A lot of exciting things on the way. Sean and I, at the last 2 weeks, have been up to our eyes in product development calls and different things that we're trying to push for 27 and 28. And there's a lot more to come. So it's blåkläder.com, blåkläder.ca. They're ready for you whenever, wherever you can find us. We're in distribution, we're in retail. Come find us, and if you have any questions, reach out. We're happy to engage.
Wonderful.
If I can add as well, anybody in the NAUMD network, right? I'm connected with a bunch, but if there's anybody out there that wants to have a conversation, that's what me and Andrew are here for, right? So
absolutely,
whether distributor and user, rental, direct sale, program management, we're more than happy to have those conversations.
So much product. I mean, I cannot believe the amount of product that the company has. It's very impressive. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Rick.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Rick.